All righty. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. Are we recording?
Good evening, one.
Hi, Mr. Henderson.
I think they said we're recording. I see it up there recording.
It says paused on my screen. Where's that coming in?
Good evening.
Hello?
It shows it's recording.
Hello.
It wasn't before, but thank you. All right. So again, it is a Cottage City work session, April 1st, 2025. I'm calling the meeting to order. We'll start with the roll call, starting with Ward 1, Commissioner Young.
Commissioner Young present.
Commissioner Henderson, Ward 2 present.
Commissioner Wheatley, Ward 3 is present. Ward 4.
Ward 4 present.
Thank you. Commissioner at large. I do not see Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Brooks is absent. Unless he's coming in now. Hello? If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. Okay, I see Commissioner Brooks joining. I'll wait for him. Commissioner Brooks? We're doing the roll call. Commissioner Brooks, you need to unmute.
Oh, you guys already started? I'm sorry, I was having
Yeah.
trouble getting on. Brooks present.
Thank you. All 5 commissioners are present and accounted for. So next on our agenda is the review of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Any corrections, edits, additions? Hello?
None from me.
Thank you.
Yeah. None from Henderson.
Thank you.
Brooks,
Givens or
nothing for
Brooks?
me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brooks.
Thank you. Givens? You're muted.
Oh, I did want to add one thing to talk about in Public Works real quick. But it's not that complicated. But I'll let you know when you get around to me.
Okay. Is it under old business or new business?
No, it'll be new business. It's pretty basic and simple, so it's not that complicated. Not a lot
Okay.
of discussion, just some information. So,
All right. Okay. Since I don't have any edits to the agenda, next up will be the swearing in of our election judges. Thanks for spelling my name correctly.
Oh, apologies.
No worries.
I had to make a quick edit right before the meeting.
Okay, so we have Angela Jenkins from Ward 1, Frederick Hill from Ward 2, Richard Anderson from Ward 3, and Demetrius Ramsey from Ward 4.
And I have 3 of them in my office right now. And Ms. Jenkins is on Zoom tonight.
Okay, can you?
I am here.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Can you please bring up the oath? All right.
Hold on 1 second.
That's it. Leave it there. Thank
I
you.
am. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to do the swearing in of our 4 judges. I am going to repeat the statement. I need you to state your name, and then we'll continue from there. I'm going to swear you all in at the same time. So we're going to go through this just once. And I will go slow enough so you'll have time to repeat it. Is everyone ready to take the oath?
Yes.
All right, great. So I state your name,
Angela Jenkins,
Richard Anderson.
do swear or affirm Can you guys hear me? I need you to repeat what I'm saying. I state your name, do swear or affirm
Do swear or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and that I will be
and that I will be
faithful and bear true allegiance
faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and the town of Cottage City,
and the town of Cottage,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully.
and faithfully.
And I'm sorry if I didn't say this before, you guys are supposed to raise your, I believe, right hand?
Yeah.
Or is it the left?
Right hand.
Right hand? Okay, I'm sorry if I didn't say that in the beginning. Let me see. Diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice,
Diligently and
Prejudice.
execute the office of election judge
execute the office of election judge
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state
and laws of this state
and the town of Cottage City.
and the town of Cottage City.
Congratulations, you are now officially election judges. Thank you so much for your service.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So when do we come back?
May 5th.
Like Friday.
All right. Mr. Holtzen has certificates for all of you.
Yes, we prepared.
Show our appreciation of your service.
Yep, to show appreciation, we have certificates that we prepared for all of you. We have former Commissioner Hill. Thank you.
Do you need us to sign these?
No, we're good. And Ms. Ramsey and Ms. Jenkins, we will have yours here at Town Hall,
Okay, that's fine.
and I'll make sure you get it.
Okay.
But these are them, what we presented this evening.
Special meeting, field,
So thank you so much for your service.
All right, you're very welcome.
So next on our agenda is the budget discussion and the proposed town tax rate schedule. Do we have a document to go with this? Because I haven't seen anything.
No, it's no change from the budget that we shared previously, but I'll bring it up on the screen and we can talk it through.
Thank you.
Mr. Hodson, will you allow me to screen share? All right, tonight we're going to talk about the constant yield. Good evening, everybody. I'm Todd Frankenfield. I'm the town treasurer for the past 3 or 4 years. So constant yield tax rate, essentially what the constant yield tax rate is it's a mechanism that the state provides the town to maintain revenues that are the same as the prior year and offer the citizens a lower tax rate. So revenues stay the same, tax rate goes down because assessments have gone up. Most properties are raising in value constantly. The state and the county are reassessing, and the town is subject to raise a majority of its revenue through that tax base. The town has 2 property tax classes, residential and commercial. Approximately 66% of its tax base is residential and a third is commercial. From the budget proposal that we've been presenting so far, we've constantly been maintaining the tax rate that we passed in fiscal year 25. So tax rates are the same, revenues have a small increase, and those tax rates will be 0.4538 for the residential properties, 0.6735 for the commercial properties. We've talked about the majority of the expenditures in the budget so far. As the budget is drafted, the budget shows a deficit of $368,000, which means the town's going to take $368,000 out of savings from the beginning of fiscal year 26 until the end. Based on the town's current reserves, I'm estimating that the town will have about $1.3 million at the end of fiscal year 27. Commissioners, it is your decision. This is just my suggestion. The town can weather the deficit of $368,000, and we're still within our normal accepted ratios of cash to budget coming out of fiscal year 27. So I'll pause there, but commissioners, you definitely have the opportunity here to say, hey, we got to keep the town liquid. We're planning on expanding. You have the option to increase tax rates to decrease that budget deficit. And I'll stop there.
Thank you, Todd. Could you do me a favor, please? Is it any way you can make the print larger?
Sure. Yep. So the two lines we're talking about tonight are our residential and our commercial tax rates, because that's approximately, it's really a third of our revenue budget. So it's the biggest revenue driver, one of the biggest revenue drivers for the town.
And can you repeat your recommendation one more time?
So my recommendation is the town maintains the same tax rate for fiscal year 26 as we had in fiscal year 25. So those tax rates are 4.538 and 0.6735 for the commercial properties. When we maintain tax rates, it creates a little bit of revenue for the town. So what I'm doing here is just calculating how much revenue increased. But so by maintaining the same tax rate, it provided about $72,000 of revenue to the town. Now, again, you have the opportunity to increase or decrease. My suggestion is you maintain the same tax rates so you don't have to have a larger budget deficit.
Okay, and can you say what the deficit is one more time? I think you had showed it to us.
$368,000.
That's our deficit.
Correct. And so what that means is if we have $1.5 million that we're carrying into next fiscal year, at the end of next fiscal year, we'll be down around 1.1.5 is how that, we're taking it out of savings to keep funding operations next year.
Which is what we did last year, right? And the year before.
That's correct.
We've
Yep.
been doing this for the last couple of years. Well, I guess the last several years.
Yeah, and I support it. The town has the liquidity, the town has the reserves to keep maintaining that practice. But again, you may disagree with me and you want to say, hey, we're balancing the budget. We're going to increase the tax rates. There's a cost to the citizens, but then the town doesn't have to dip into savings to balance the budget.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're going to go around the room and hear from the commissioners. I see Commissioner Young, you have your hand up. and then we'll follow in order by Commissioner Henderson, myself, Givens, and at-large Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Young, you have the floor.
Thank you. I support doing what you recommend. And in other words, keeping it at the same level. I do think that if there's some way that we could explain to the townspeople in an article in the newsletter or however, that we are keeping it the same, because I have gotten some feedback in the past that it looks like we're raising taxes because the state has raised taxes. And I'm sure the state will raise taxes this year. And so it would be good if people could understand that we're not raising taxes, that the increase in their taxes is because the state is raising their taxes, just so people will understand where we are, if that makes sense. I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, definitely. And the other piece of it is the county too, right? So when the residents get their tax bills, there's a piece from the town along with the county. And then, most residents are seeing their assessed value, their property value goes up. So unfortunately, that comes with a higher tax bill as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yeah, so I agree with the proposed methodology, and Frankenfield. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, I agree with what you proposed. With the proposal to keep the tax rates just the way they were.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking a question. More so, could you pull up the rates so we could see them?
Sure.
Or am I missing it?
Yeah, no, they're
I
over
saw them
here
a minute ago. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so it's my turn. I agree with the recommendation from the town treasurer. Also agree with Commissioner Young in regards to making sure that the residents and homeowners are understanding what's happening with their tax assessment. I also got complaints last year. Folks believed that the town had raised their taxes when actuality the county assessed their property value higher, which automatically made their taxes go up. And they just didn't understand that it wasn't the town, it was the county. So I don't know if you can, Todd, work with the town manager. Maybe we could put something in the newsletter to explain it, put something on the website, put something out on Constant Contact, all our platforms, so people can have a better understanding of their property taxes. Because I think people get confused when they get the assessment and they just see the number went up. And so they automatically think it's the town. Commissioner Givens. You're muted, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me give you guys a better understanding, because everybody that's spoken here are wrong. They have a misunderstanding. Based on, if you keep the rate the same, I can only assume that the constant yield is lower than the rate. There's a difference between the rate and the constant yield. If you keep the rate the same and the constant yield is lower, then you are raising taxes, which I believe that's how you're able to increase the revenues by $73,000. The constant yield keeps it at a balanced zero, which means that you will receive no more money than you received last year. You receive the exact same amount. That is the constant yield rate. That's what it is applicable to. If you choose to leave the rate where it's at and the constant yield is lower, then essentially you are raising taxes. Now, Frankenfield may have misunderstood what Frankenfield, or maybe he didn't explain it better, but that's the reality. There's no way in the world, I don't care, there's no way in the world you can have more revenue come in than you did last year, $73,000 increase, without, you got to get it from somewhere. You're raising the taxes. And I think you should. I agree that the tax rate should stay the same and receive that $73,000 revenue. So I just want to make sure you guys don't go out there and misspeak and put yourselves in a position which is not true. Because if you have somebody who might, like me, who understands it, they're going to correct you on it. And it's not, you're going to kind of look with pie on your face. I yield back.
I thought that we said the same thing you just said.
No, you said, so there's a difference than the rate and the constant yield. They're two different numbers. So the rate, the current rate as it stands, I imagine is, I think he said 4.5 or 45.8 or something like that. Is that correct?
That's cool. Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
And what is the constant yield?
So the constant yield
There you go.
rate.
I don't think, Todd, you gave us the constant yield. You just told us what the tax rates were going to be.
That's correct. Yep.
He didn't say the constant yield yet, Commissioner Gibbons.
But he knows what the constant yield rate is, and by him stating, I don't even know what the constant yield rate. I already automatically know that it's lower than what the current tax rate is, because he said there was an increase in revenue, small revenue of $73,000. So I would imagine that would, to be honest with you, that should be about 2 cents, which is not per $100 of assessed value. But I could be off on that a little bit. He's at 2 or 3 cents, something to that effect.
Yeah, that's accurate. So the state is offering the town's constant yield rate at 4.186, and I'll put it on the screen so there's no confusion. But Commissioner Gibbons is exactly right. So if the town chooses to go to the constant yield rate, we're not going to raise any revenue, and our revenues will be exactly the same as this year. My recommendation is to keep the tax rates flat so the town does generate a little bit of revenue, mostly because of the deficit number that we talked about. So happy to answer any questions about that.
Yeah, and also just to get clarity, I don't think it's 4 point nothing. It's 4.1. It's either 4.5 because it's 45 cents per $100 of assessed value. It's not 4 cents per 100 or 40 or 4.5 cents. It's 45 cents per $100 of assessed value, and the constant yield rate is 41 cents per $100 of assessed value.
That's correct.
What was last year's constant yield rate?
I have to look it up, but I can look it up here in a minute and let you know. I think we adopted the constant yield tax rate for last year. So for residential property, and then commercial, we either kept flat or didn't adopt the constant yield, but I can pull those up while we're talking.
So I can tell you what you did last year. You did the constant yield last year because my recommendation last year was to give a slight increase so that you would have a gradual growing of the revenues so that it wouldn't impact any the residents dramatically. What Todd said is, well, yeah, I think you're going to have to raise the taxes next year. He says, but this year, which was last year, I think you're fine at going to constant yield. That was the conversation, because I specifically got on everybody. Everybody voted against me. But nevertheless, I mean, we're still surviving, right? We still got money in the bank, but we have less money. I don't even know where we're at in regards to, so that would be a different question. I can ask that later as far as where we're at this year, what our anticipation will we actually have gone into the deficit, pull from the deficit, because we haven't backfilled a number of positions, so that will reduce the amount of revenues, the amount of expenditures.
Okay, is that it, Commissioner Young? I'm sorry, Commissioner Gibbons.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So before we go to Commissioner Brooks, Mr. Best, you had your hand raised, and then you lowered it. Do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, the constant yield tax rate has changed the law now is if you increase your rate, your tax rate, period, you have to go through a notice and a hearing process. So the constant yield tax rate is not computed the way it was in the old days. So I think we're going to have to look at that. I think, Todd, you're wrong on that. And Commissioner Gibbon, I believe you're wrong on that. But if I am, I certainly will admit it. But the law just changed. It was repealed and amended a year and a half ago.
Point of
So
order.
I'll get back to you on that.
Point of order. Just as
Could Commissioner Brooks also get a second here? We're
yeah,
kind of
can you
going
hold-
each commissioner, but no,
I get it.
Gonna
Frank.
say-
Just I want to get listen.
Hold on,
Brooks,
hold on.
I just want to make sure that we get some clarity. That's all I'm trying to do. Because while I understand what Mr. Best is saying, which you might not understand, what he's talking about is a different. That's different than the financial aspect of it. He's talking about the requirements in order to in order to when you do increase the what's name as far as the notification and to have a hearing and so on and so forth. We're not talking about that. We're talking about numbers, the money. And there's no way in the world you can increase. There's no way in the world that you can have a lower constant yield rate. That's never going to change, Mr. Best. That has nothing to do with the law. You know, it's about math, and Mr. Frankenfield can tell you that. You're talking about the requirements in order to whether you have a hearing or not. That's relative, you know, and that that may be relative to the conversation, but it has nothing to do with the constant yield. So I just want to make sure you understand that. Now yield back. You can go ahead.
Okay, so again, can we all just kind of go in order? And yes, Mr. Brooks, I know you were next, but the town attorney raised his hand, so I wanted to hear what he had to say. So we'll continue to go in order. I see Commissioner Young, you have your hand up. If we need to make a second round, we will. And if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. So we'll go to Commissioner Brooks next. Thank you.
Thank you. And respectfully, I do want to say, I think if we're going to each commissioner, it'd be good to get each commissioner and then go to questions. But anyway, I think one of Todd's first question is, does this deficit include the matches that we have for the grants?
It does.
Okay,
And
perfect.
the other thing to consider is ARPA. So ARPA, the revenue came in 2 years ago, but we're still spending it out. And I think we've got about 90 grand in ARPA that creates the deficit. So, yes.
And I think the only other thing I would add to all this is, John, what I'd really like to see, and I'm sorry, I probably should have emailed this to you, but I would like to see what the business tax rates are for neighboring communities. I could be wrong, just doing a little bit of research. It looks like we're much lower. And if that's the case, I would, I don't want to be borrowing or taking money from the bank account each year just to keep our operations going. So, I might support, raising that a little bit to match what neighboring communities are charging as a tax rate to business. I'm sorry, did you guys hear anything I just said? I think I was
Yes, we heard you.
about the business tax rates.
Yes, we heard you.
Okay, sorry, I hit mute at some point. Thank you.
And Commissioner Brooks, I have a website link that I'll share and put in the chat where you can see all the other towns in the county and what their tax rates are. I'll look it up and share the link here in a second.
Perfect, I appreciate it. I was just doing like Google searches and it looked like we were much lower, but it would be great to kind of see that cross comparison. Thank you.
All right, so we'll circle back around, Commissioner Young. You'll have to unmute yourself, Commissioner Young. We're waiting on you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to say thanks to Demetrius and Todd for your explanations. I think it would be good to put in the newsletter a very simplified explanation to people, though, that their town tax rate is basically not changed. The amount that they pay for the town's tax rate is basically not changed. I'm not sure we need to go into the complications of that unless that can be done in a simple way, just so that people will understand that it's not the town and that it and that it comes from the county and the state. So, thank you.
Thank you. I believe you had
And I
stated
can,
that prior to your first comment. I believe that's something that you stated already, and I agreed with
no,
you.
I did state that. I just wanted to say that in spite of all the complicated discussion that happened after that, which I don't dispute at all, I think it would be good, one, to put it in the newsletter, and two, not necessarily to include all the complications, but try to make it as straightforward as possible. That was the main thrust of what I wanted to say now. And I will mute myself here, and if you I'll try to keep, it said I was unmuted on the screen, but anyway, sorry for the confusion.
No worries. It's just that when your microphone is open, we're getting feedback unless you're actually speaking.
I just
And
turned it
yes,
off.
thank you. And yes, please make whatever explanation is provided is as simple as possible. And we don't want to confuse people anymore. Anything else? Anyone else have any questions or comments for Todd? And Todd, you need us to make a decision, right?
Let me check our dates just to make sure.
Or you want us to think about it some more?
Yeah, so no, we're on schedule. So we're gonna have 3 more meetings
Mhm.
where we review the budget ordinance, adopt the budget on May 14th, and then rates are due to the county on May 15th. So we're on schedule. Just take that in. We'll adopt that into the legislation that we'll introduce next meeting.
Okay, and just for clarification, the constant yield for last year was 4.186.
For this year,
That's
it's
this year.
for the coming fiscal year 26, it's 4.186. For fiscal year 25, I'm fairly certain it's 4.538, but I'll go confirm and put it in the chat.
Point of order.
Please. Yes.
For clarity, again, you guys got to stop saying 4 point. There is no point. The point comes after the second number. So it's not 4 point because you're anybody that's listening to this, what's the name, will do the math and will tell you, well, that's a problem. That's wrong. It's not 4 point is 4 cents, you know? And so it's not 4 cents. It's the constant yield is 41 point whatever. So it's 41 cents and a little bit of fractions. You know, the current rate is 45 point some fractions. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to make sure, just for clarity, because if we're doing this, we need to make sure that we're saying it right. People don't have to necessarily like it or love it, you know, hate it or love it. The bottom line is we have to be accurate with that information. I yield back.
Thank you for the clarification. I was just repeating the number that Todd gave out. So
I
Todd,
want
if you
Todd to
could,
be clear. I want him to be clear too.
I got you, Commissioner Givens. I got you. So Todd, can you just please say the actual number instead of the point number?
And to clarify, when
Yeah.
I give the tax rate, I give it in dollars, not cents. So therefore, the constant yield for fiscal year 26 is $0.4186 per 100, which is the same as 41.86 cents per hundred.
You're right, but you keep saying 4 point, and there is no 4 point. It's 0.41, like you said, in dollars, or the what's the name, and which is 41 cents. 0.41 is 41 cents.
Yeah, then if I said it
4.1
wrong,
is
I
4 cents.
apologize. If I said it
4.1.
wrong, I apologize,
Yeah,
but
but and
clarify.
my thing is, you keep saying it wrong, and people keep misunderstanding, and they keep repeating it because that's what you said. And I just want to make sure, it's not I'm not trying to Western name you. I just want to make sure that we're clear and accurate. Again, I don't want to misinform people, and I know it might sound like I'm being petty. I'm trying to tell you, you want to be accurate. It's not about being petty. It's about being accurate. I yield back.
All righty, thank you. There's nothing else in regards to this particular topic.
Wait 1 second. I did want to ask a question of the commission. Would anybody else support? I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the sheet that Todd had sent. Would anybody else support raising the business taxes some? I know last year we did a very small amount, but it really doesn't look like our tax rates are, comparable to other neighboring towns.
I'd be open to it.
You said business, right? Just
Right, the
business?
commercial, yeah. I'm not in support of, raising residential taxes. They will raise themselves because values of the houses have went up a lot over the years. But yeah, I do support raising our business tax rates to make them more comparable with neighboring towns. And I mean, I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at Colmar Manor, and I think it's something like, uh, 0.8 something. Let me see, 0.84. But Todd, ours is like 0.6735, right?
For commercial, residential is
Right. I'm talking about just commercial, not residential.
yes, ours is
It,
0.67 for commercial.
would you give us just be able to give us an estimate? What if we increased it to 0.72? Like what kind of difference that would make? I'm just curious. If now is not a good time, that's fine.
Yeah, if you give me a second.
And I have a question also. While you're looking
That's all I have, but
I know,
I do think it would be a good idea if we highly considered, again, it's not, we're not going to be more than Colmar Manor or anybody else, but at least we'd try to bring it back up to some comparable, similarity with neighboring towns.
All right, so Commissioner
Thank
Young,
you.
I see your hand, and we're gonna go around the room. You've already responded that you would support raising the business or commercial taxes. I'm gonna go to Commissioner Henderson next. Commissioner
Yes,
Henderson, would you support Commissioner Brooks' request?
yes, I do.
All right. Commissioner Wheatley, I also support Commissioner Givens.
Yes, I'm in support of it.
Okay, thank you. So Commissioner Brooks, you got your response. Now we'll go
Okay,
to
could we hear Todd real quick?
Okay, then after that, I'm gonna go to Commissioner Young.
Yeah, and it's about a $15,000 increase from where on top of the 36 that I had originally shown you. So from 0.67 to 0.70 creates another 15 grand in revenue to the town.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna repeat what you said, Todd. You said raising the business or commercial tax from 0.67 to 0.70.
Correct.
Now, is that in cents? That's in cents or?
That's in dollars.
That's in dollars.
So 70 cents per hundred, 0.70 dollars per hundred.
And that will, how much will that yield?
That creates another 15 grand on top of our original projection.
Additional 15,000
Correct.
in addition to the 36?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Young?
Yeah, the only question I had is, and I do support raising it to a certain extent, and that may be fine. But I know that Colmar Manor raised their taxes a lot to pay for that building over there. And so I'd be interested to hear what the tax rates are for other surrounding towns like Brentwood and Mount Rainier and Bladensburg. And as long as we're in the same ballpark, then I'm fine with it.
I believe, Todd, you put that information in the chat. So Commissioner Young, if you go to the chat, you can click on the link that Todd provided and it'll show you all of those municipalities. So Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Givens, you both have your hand raised. I believe Brooks, you raised your hand first.
I'll be real brief. The 0.70, I think, is what I stated at first, but I would go as high as 0.72. And I think that's fair only because look, we are quite a bit behind in similar tax rates, but I would be willing to go up to 0.72. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Givens.
Okay, so I don't have a problem 7.2, 7.0, whatever you guys decide. It's fine with me. But just again, for clarity, keeping the tax rate as it was last year, even on the commercial, is an increase in taxes. That's how you. It's because the 72,000 doesn't come from all the residents. 3/4 of that comes from the 72,000 comes from the residents. The other 1/3 comes from the businesses. So, mind you, I mean, again, I don't have any problem with the rate per se increasing it. However, just note that if you increase it, you're starting at whatever that increase, with that initial increase is, and like if you went to 7.0, then you'd be putting it an additional $15,000, and then plus what the original constant yield is. You see what I'm saying, Todd? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
Okay.
because the assessable base went up, so the tax revenues go up. Yep.
That's correct. So as I don't know what 1/3 of 72,000 is, but I don't. It's what, 15,000.
Yeah.
Because I just want.
Yeah.
Okay. So and essentially, just going to 7.0, John, you're raising the business taxes. Just so you're clear, 30,000. You're getting 30,000 in revenues from the business. And if you want to go to 7.2, then it will be even more. Just so you understand, I don't have a problem with it. I just want to make sure that you know what you're doing, as far as so that you're making an educated decision. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Holson,
Yes.
there are several comments in the chat. Could you please read them into the record?
Will do. It says from Kevin Best, it says prior to 2024, the local taxing authority could not set a tax rate that exceeded that constant yield tax rate until first advertising its intent to do so. Now the local taxing authority cannot set a tax rate that exceeds the current taxable year's real property tax rate until first advertising its intent to do so. In addition to publishing an advertisement, the taxing authority must place a notice on its website. If the taxing authority does not have a website, it must post a notice in a place that is easily accessible to the public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we've discussed this quite a bit. So as Todd said, we have 3 more meetings and we can discuss more. We have some things to think about. And I appreciate your explaining, Commissioner Givens, and appreciate you as also, Todd, for explaining the difference with the numbers. Moving on, we have old business that we need to discuss. If you could bring up that topic on the screen, please. So the old firehouse project.
All right, the old firehouse project. We are going to be discussing some things in closed session this evening. We did get an advisory opinion back from the architecture board. And the project is currently, we have some things we need to work out. And those are things we're going to discuss this evening. But I did want to let people know that we did get an advisory opinion back from the architecture board, and we are going to discuss that, the opinions tonight in the closed session.
Thank you. Next topic.
Next topic is a resolution that we're going to be putting forth for the town meeting. This resolution is to set a policy to authorize the town manager to schedule the use of the town shuttle bus van when a request is made by an outside individual or agencies. This is something that I know the commission had requested in hopes of when people need to request to reserve the bus or the shuttle or the van, they can do so, and the town manager can then make that call. So I have it presented here in the packet, and it's also on the screen, and I'm available for questions or comments before we take it to vote next Wednesday.
Commissioner Givens, your hand is up. Is that from before?
Yeah, I'll lower it. Sorry.
Thank you. So we'll start with Ward 1, Commissioner Young. Any questions for the town manager?
I guess my only question would be, what kind of policy are we going to put in place that's different from what it is now? I know I got, pardon me, one complaint recently from a resident who had trouble getting the bus to come pick her up from a store. She had to wait about an hour. So I don't really, if you could explain the general policies about that, and maybe we could even put that in the newsletter so people would understand what those policies are in terms of distances and requests and when they need to be made and so forth and so on. I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
And if you can explain any of that now, that would be great too.
Sure. We currently have a driver, Joe, who does do rides for residents of the town. And he's available to go around a 10-mile radius around to drop people off to doctor's appointments and things of that sort. What this resolution is doing is it is allowing people who want to schedule to use the van. We've had requests from, of course, Bladensburg and Colmar Manor to use our shuttle bus, as well as our van for different events or activities. And this now would allow for the town manager to make the call when people are asking for that, for a reservation to use it. So this spells out the policy so that everyone is clear as to how you go about reserving or requesting the bus or the shuttle. Or the van, excuse me.
So Commissioner Young, just to be a little clearer, this resolution is for when requests are made outside of the town. So if an external request from another municipality or recently when Delegate Fennell asked if our van could be used to transport residents from Colmar Manor, Bladensburg, and Cottage City up to Annapolis. So the policy that's in place for our residents hasn't changed. This policy or resolution is for requests made outside of our town. So does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Moving on, Commissioner Henderson, any questions or comments?
I have no question. Or comment at this time.
Thank you. I don't have any questions or comments. Commissioner Givens?
Yeah, thank you for doing this. Can you do me I don't have any questions this time because I haven't had a chance to truly read it. Can you print me out a copy and just drop it in my box so I can I have time to read through it to make sure it satisfies all my concerns. Thank you.
Will do.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yeah, no, just a real quick brief comment. I just I would just make sure I think this is great. I don't think the town manager should have to come to the commission as a body for something so little as this all the time. So I support this, but just make sure that it's a mutual benefit And anytime anybody's requesting that, we're also, you know, getting to use somebody else's equipment, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
We'll make note of that. Thank you.
I think that's a great comment. And you brought something up, or brought something to my mind or attention is, I know before when Delegate Fennell requested to use the van, they had stated that they were gonna find a driver and they didn't. So we kind of got stuck with that task and it was very last minute. It was very frustrating. I know some folks did not get picked up and some folks who did attend arrived late. So I think whenever you do approve any outside requests, that you just make sure that they understand what their responsibilities are. And yeah, I just want to make sure that whenever you approve it, because before you were coming to the commission asking approval because it was outside of the town, it was coming from an outside source. So I think it's fine that you approve it. I just, like Commissioner Brooks, want to make sure that when the requests are made, that you're just double checking, making sure everything's on the up and up and that they understand what their responsibility is and not to try to dump it on us at the last minute. Commissioner Young, I believe you had your hand raised, and then I believe the town attorney also raised his hand after you. So we'll go to you, Commissioner Young, then Mr. Best.
Okay, I can't read it very well either. It's very difficult to read. But in any event, also that giving it out to another place to use the bus doesn't unduly have a bad impact, pardon me, on our own residents' ability to use the bus. I think that should be primary.
Yes, I'm sure the town manager would not forego our residents for outside entity. I'm sure he would make our residents priority in all cases. Mr. Best?
Yes, I would just say that this policy doesn't mention anything about compensating the town in any way, shape, or form for loaning the bus to another entity. There's not even a requirement to fill the tank back up with gas. So that might be something you all want to place into this policy. I don't know. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea because that's what I was kind of hitting around to, but I didn't want to put it out there because I know it was an issue when the bus was requested last time. I think Bladensburg offered to pay for the gas. Or was it Comar Manor? Do you remember, Mr. Holson?
It was Bladensburg said they would pay for the gas.
Right. Bladensburg said they would pay for the gas, which I believe they did. Is that not correct?
Yes.
And Comar Manor's responsibility was to get the driver.
That's correct.
They dropped the ball and they did not get a driver.
Right.
So I agree with Mr. Best. I think compensation for gas, I think that should be their responsibility as well.
We will definitely put that into this policy. Good idea.
Thanks. And it's not our responsibility to find them a driver. That's their responsibility.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions, comments? If not, we'll move to the next agenda item. Thank you, everyone.
Just one quick thing. Do we have in there that they need to show evidence that the driver is a qualified driver to drive a van like that?
Yes, it is. It is in the resolution.
Okay. Thank you.
Next agenda item.
All right. The next agenda item is something the chief and I know we've been hearing feedback from residents as well as from commissioners, creating an ordinance that would establish a resident only like permit zone with Cottage Terrace between 4 and 7. And so what we presented tonight in the packet is we've got a sample of hang tags that can be created for the zone that would allow for Cottage City Police to be able to identify who should be coming through that zone between 4 and 7. And then we also have within the packet several ordinances that have been written by sister municipalities regarding permit zones and what they've done to address the issues. So what we're here tonight to do is to hear feedback from the commission as to how you all feel about this, what you all would like to see, so that we hopefully, between myself and the town attorney and chief of police Ayers, we can go ahead and create an ordinance if you all are happy with that, moving it forward. And we could do the first reading, hopefully at the town meeting on April the 9th.
Okay, so before I go around the room, can you explain this again? Because I don't understand what you're trying to do. You're establishing a resident-only zone on just on Cottage Terrace? I don't understand. Why is it
Well,
Cottage Terrace?
we seem to have a traffic congestion issue, as we all know, on Cottage Terrace between during rush hour. We end up getting a huge amount of traffic that tries to use Cottage Terrace, come through the town, and it creates congestion on 40th Avenue as well as Bunker Hill and various streets within the town. So the plan would be that if we can create a resident permit zone, it would allow for our Cottage City Police to be able to police the area more efficiently, so that we know who should not be coming through. And it would make things a little bit easier for us to hand out violations for people who are continually trying to use it as a cut through. But I can also have Chief Ayers, I know you're on the call. Do you want to add to it?
No, you pretty much summed it up. That's pretty much what we're trying to do. Just trying to keep the traffic flowing smoothly, so we don't inconvenience our residents waiting in line while we check and see if people are supposed to be coming through that street or not.
Okay, so this permit would only be for the people who live on Cottage Terrace, or would it be for everyone in the town?
Anybody that want to come to the town hall to actually pick up one that lives in the town that comes home that way. We have a lot of residents that live all over the town that comes through Cottage Terrace to get home in the evenings, and they have to wait in line while we check for IDs or check for people, see if people coming through or stopping through. So this will actually be something we can see from their window and can flag them through instead of waiting a long line.
Okay, so with this permit, I would only need it if I'm coming through the town and I'm taking Cottage Terrace to proceed home.
That's
But if
correct.
I'm going through, let's say, Ward 1, I would need this permit.
Not necessarily, no. The only time you need
Madam
it is
Chair.
I see that people have their hands raised. I'm going to get to you. I need to understand.
Chime in.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is a permit parking ordinance that would allow parking on a designated street for residents of that street only. The ordinance has a provision that says that either the commission can establish these parking permit zones, or the people of a particular street can petition the commission to establish a parking permit zone along a street or roadway or alley, so that they could exclude everyone except the residents of the abutting properties from parking using a permit, a hanger, to park along that street. Now, of the 3 ordinances in the packet, one being Colmar Manor, and the other's Edmonston, and I forget the other town, but I think Edmonston has probably the simplest, clearest one. That's the one I favor. If you were going to read, if you were pressed for time, read the Edmonston ordinance, because I think that's pretty good. But that's the gist of it. So I just want to try to alleviate some wasting of time by talking about something that maybe you're not aware of. You cannot exclude the public. And this is a federal constitutional issue. You typically cannot exclude the public from using or parking the street unless you do it properly. So that's why you'd have to do this permit system via an ordinance. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand all of that. My question was, why does it say Cottage Terrace? That's why I'm questioning this, because to me it's confusing. Are you saying it's only for Cottage Terrace and it's only the people who live on Cottage Terrace? Because I live in the townhouses and I have to come down Cottage Terrace, or I have to come down, I guess, part of Cottage Terrace to get to the townhouses. But I don't live on Cottage Terrace. So would I get this permit or not?
No, it's for parking along the street. It's not for travel. Doesn't have any regulatory effect on people using the street for travel purposes, the travel way. It's for parking along the street.
No,
So-
I don't.
Two things are
Hold on,
getting
let me
mixed up
clear.
here. Two
Hold on,
things are getting mixed up.
Hold, stop.
We're talking about parking.
Can we please
or
have some
driving.
order? Can we
Yeah,
please
yeah.
have some order and everyone stop talking over each one? Commissioner Young, you haven't been recognized, and Chief, you haven't been recognized. So, Chief, if you can explain what this
Yes.
is, because Mr. Best is saying it's something different.
Right. First of all, those ordinance that were sent to you, I wasn't aware of that. Though we're not doing parking. And I'm just looking at the decals the first time. I asked them to put down something for me, and they worded it wrong. Only thing it's supposed to say is Cottage City residents. That's all on there. Just not residential parking. It's just residents. I just want something I can see from a distance that this person lives in the town. So when they come down Cottage Terrace to commute through, I can stop them and challenge them. If they come through and they had this tag, I can let them go through. So like you said, Commissioner Wheatley, you can get one of these for your car. So when you come through in the evenings, you won't get stopped by a police officer. We'll let you keep on going because we see you live in the town. I just want something to identify that person lives in town. I'm not trying to do parking. I think I told them that, use the parking. When I talked to the person that was actually making this, I told them I want to use the one they have for parking for Mount Rainier, and I gave him the wording for it, but he put parking on it. It isn't supposed to be for residential parking. It's supposed to be it's supposed to say Cottage City 2025 resident. So I know that car is belong to a resident inside the town only, not parking permit. So that's my fault.
Right.
I should have checked it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's a pretty
hold on.
big error.
Yes,
Hold
it's a pretty error.
on. I hear other people talking. So, Chief, so I'm clear. This permit or this ordinance is in regards to the local traffic that's coming through during rush hour.
Right. It's for
That's
the
what
local
this
traffic.
permit is for.
Right, not for parking. And that's my fault.
Okay, that's why I was confused.
Yeah, that's my fault because when I sent it to the town manager, I didn't read it when the guy sent it back over. I just forwarded it to him. But it's I'm looking at it right now. It's wrong. It's supposed to say Cottage City 2025 residential. I would say resident. So I know for a fact that it's a resident's vehicle. I can wave them through. Because if you out there this afternoon and saw me out there, it's a long line sometimes because everybody cutting through. And I don't want to have our residents waiting a long line while we check and see who's cutting through and who's not.
Okay, so with that being said, if me as a resident who lives not just on Cottage Terrace, but in another part of town, if I get this permit without the parking permit statement up there and it just says Cottage City 2025 resident, you see that hanging in my car. If I'm coming through rush hour, you're going to wave me in, or you're going to let me come through.
That's correct.
And that's all this ordinance is addressing?
Well, I haven't seen the ordinance. But the way Mr. Best has read it, I don't want that ordinance. I don't want a parking ordinance. We need to come up with something in reference to just knowing that you're a resident. And really, I don't think we have to have an ordinance for this because we're not enforcing the laws with a person having it in their car. We're just using it as identification that this vehicle belongs to a resident, I can waive them through. So really, I don't think an ordinance is needed for it because we're not enforcing if a person has it or not. It's the point where it's letting a resident don't have to stay in a long line waiting to be checked, and I can waive them on. We just use something visual that we can actually identify these cars.
Gotcha. All right, so now let's go to, I don't know who had their hand up first. I guess we'll just start with Ward 1 and work our way around the room. So we'll go with Ward 1, Commissioner Young.
I was just going to say the same thing I was trying to clarify earlier on. All we're talking about and all we should be talking about is just for residents to be able to drive through and keep non-residents out. So it has nothing to do with parking. However, I just saw a comment in the chat from Yolanda that it might be better to put these as bumper stickers rather than as things hanging on your mirror. That those are more permanent to have bumper stickers. But anyway, as long as we clarify that, that's all I wanted to make sure of.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes, I mean, even though I like the parking thing, but I'd rather for it to be for the whole town, just like Coleman Manor and the rest of them, Edmonton had. Because I mean, in the future, I think we should look at it as having even bumper stickers or hang tags for the whole Cottage City for parking.
Okay, thank you. I do know that there's an issue with parking on certain streets in the town. I think Cottage Terrace is one of the streets that has a lot of congestion as far as parking. And I know we've gotten complaints from residents, and they have asked us to look into a solution. And I know the chief and others have been trying to come up with a solution or a plan, but I don't think we're there yet, Commissioner Henderson. But we have looked into it, and I think we're still going to look into it and try to figure something out. Because I do know that some streets are very congested versus some that are not. I already asked my question, so I'm going to skip. Commissioner Givens?
So I don't think you should have hangers because in some states, and I know in DC, people riding around, I don't know if they changed it, but that's a ticket. So I do agree. And I don't think Yolanda was trying to say bumper sticker. I think she was just trying to say a sticker, i.e. a lot of apartment dwellings and stuff like that. They'll give you a sticker to put in your upper, like, left-hand window, but I would, upper left-hand driver's side up in the corner somewhere or down below so that it can be easily identified by whatever entity that needed to see it. And in regards to, just to follow up with Mr. Henderson, we discussed this before in regards to the parking. I went around at nighttime. You don't have a parking problem. You have people don't want people parking in front of their house. That's the problem. And so there are some streets that are a little bit more congested than the others. I get that. But there are parking spaces on those streets. People just don't want to walk, per se, because someone parked in front of their house. A parking permit is not going to preclude people from parking in front of your house. And then the other problem was, like Mr. Best explained to everyone, if you start doing that, you have to give them an opportunity because it's a public for somewhere to be able to park. And unlike Comar Manor, which has a long stretch of business open parking behind the businesses along that street and stuff like that, where there are no houses, pretty much, where they can create that zone to give alternative parking. Well, we don't have that ability here in Cottage City. So essentially, all you would do is just transfer those cars, if you were to implement that, into somewhere else in front of someone else's house. And so I'm happy to talk to you offline about it, explain to you a little bit better, and explain to you. And the chief agreed. He looked at it. I asked John to drive around at nighttime, and because that's what's important. It's not so much the daytime it's really the nighttime when people come home after work. Yeah, somehow some streets have more than others. Cottage Terrace, we have a number, but and people they've always complained since I've moved here in 1993 about, oh, don't park in front of my house and this and that. So I yield back, but I do agree there probably should be some type of sticker. I'm not sure if it's something that we can generate through on at from the town hall, or we need to kind of and I don't think we should be stuck on doing this stuff every year, because we shouldn't be having to burden the administrative office on a yearly basis. Most of the people that live in the town, they've been living here for years, so you give them a sticker and new people move in, they want a sticker, because i.e. on Ward 1 and side of town, on the other side of 38th Street, which is Ward 1, wouldn't need one unless they wanted one, just because they come to town hall, or maybe the garden, perhaps, right, during that time, or not. But you give them that option, those who want it and those who don't. I yield back.
Commissioner Brooks?
I'm sorry, I may have missed it in this conversation, but I mean, do we need an ordinance for this? I mean, it's not parking permits, it's not roadway usage permits. It's literally, from what I understood the chief, it's just an identifier. That's all it is. A little blue tag that says Cottage City 2025 expiration date with a number. Like, doesn't authorize you to park somewhere. It doesn't, all it is for them to identify people so they can identify. I don't know. Do we absolutely need an ordinance for this?
No, you don't, because we're not enforcing anything with it. One thing we do is
Exactly.
identifier. We use it as identifier. So I agree with Commissioner Gibbons in reference to making this a decal. But I see something to identify who's a resident, who's not. It'd be easier for the officers to enforce the no through traffic. That's all.
I mean, I support identifiers. I'm curious. Again, we're talking about an ordinance, and I don't think we need an ordinance, but thank you.
Okay, Mr. Henderson and Mr. Best, your hands are raised. Is that from before, or is that something new?
Mine's new, because it's not about parking spaces now, and I'm talking about DC tags, spending months and months overnight, and they're not even residents of Maryland, and you got Virginia tags and DC tags that are in the neighborhood that constantly here weeks and weeks out. We used to have an ordinance here, or some kind of law, that prevented that, and we checked those tags. And now today's world, it's like it's being omitted. I know, because I lived here many years, and those tags were always being checked when I first moved here. So that's why I said look at it in the future. I didn't say get on this problem right now. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. I agree, because I know in previous police officers that we had employed here, they would come through the townhouses, and if they saw a out-of-state tag, they were writing tickets. And it was like, you can't even write tickets on our street. So they started giving out warnings, and they were harassing people because they didn't have Maryland tags. So at one time, they were very, very efficient on identifying out-of-state tags.
Well,
I thought it was a law at one time, but I don't
it
know.
is
Things
it is the
changed.
law. It is a law, Commissioner Chair. I have just recently, I guess a month ago, we did twice already. Since I've been here, we did twice. We did once a couple of years ago, midway through the pandemic. We did one with motor vehicle administration that came through, and we did a nighttime nighttime scan of the town, and gave people warnings in reference to out-of-state tags, gave them 60 days. I just did one just recently. I have a list of cars. If you saw orange stickers on cars a month ago. All these cars that had orange stickers, those were the warnings that we gave people and let them know they had 60 days to transfer their tags over to Maryland. Once the 60 days are up, we are start going out there and start citing these individuals. I spoke to John about this when I did the initiative. We got orange stickers that says warning on the orange stickers for out-of-state tags. So we are working on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have to give them 60 days. We can't enforce it until after 60 days.
Right, right. I just think that, like Mr. Henderson, maybe you should do it more frequently.
We have, what happened is we have a list right now. So every day when the officers go around, if any different tags are different that's staying here, we put it on the list. If Mr. Henderson want to come see the list, we have a list that we use. We also have a cutoff date. So when the 60 days come up, that's when we start doing enforcement. But we started like a month and a half ago.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Henderson, hopefully that answered or helped you with your comment.
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Next agenda item, please. Oh, wait a minute. There's a couple of comments in the chat. Mr. Holtzen, can you read those, please?
Yes, I will. We've got, hang on. Here. So Yolanda Barnett says these tags are not the best thing. They crack and people won't keep them hanging. Can we have a permanent stick-on the bumper? Let's see. Then we have Yolanda Barnett. It says you are right. And Young says I agree. Ms. Proctor says like on the window, similar to when you get your oil changed.
Thank you. Next agenda
Next
item.
agenda item is the lawn maintenance contracts. We did put this out to 3 entities. We've received 2 back so far. We have not received the third one as of yet. But I'm happy to present to you. We've got, let's see, we've got American Landscaping and we've got Oak Lawn Landscaping. I've kind of put them up on the screen for you this evening so you can kind of see, you know, where we're at with them. One of them is coming in. American Landscaping is at $17,897 for the maintenance contract, and Oak Lawn Landscaping is coming in at a $14,040 for theirs, and it kind of gives you a comparison as to, you know, what we're going to receive for both. So we are going to hopefully tomorrow we will receive the other one. That one's coming from Keeping It Green Landscaping out of Washington, D.C., but we did want to make sure we had something to present to you this evening because it's on the agenda. And of course, this will be coming hopefully before you on the 9th during the regular town meeting.
All right, we'll go around the room. Commissioner Young, any questions about the proposals?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Henderson?
Well, I like the Oakland proposal, but I prefer waiting for the third one to come in.
Thank you. I'll wait for the third proposal as well. Commissioner Givens?
No comment.
Commissioner Brooks?
Thank you for putting them together. I'll wait as well. Thank you.
All righty. Next agenda item?
Okay, the next agenda item I have is using AI to catch up on backlog of meeting minutes. Wanted to let you know we've reached out to eScribe, and they are going to do a demonstration with us tomorrow, but I did want to let you all know, I did email you all some information regarding what they offer. We tried to get the demonstration, you know, beforehand so we could get a pricing for you all. Unfortunately, they have been booked and weren't able to get us scheduled. But we did want to bring this forward because this was something that we discussed previously. We do want to get caught up on our backlog of meeting minutes. Knowing that we also use Municode minutes for our agenda software, I have also reached out to them. They have not gotten back to me, but I'm hoping that we can figure out how we can maybe do our minutes in real time through Municode meetings. And I'm working with our sales rep through Civic Plus to see if we can do that. But I did want to give you all an update to let you know that we are going to have something for you on the 9th to talk about using AI to catch up on our backlog of meeting minutes to get us up to date.
Thank you. Commissioner Young, do you have your hand raised on this topic?
Yes, I do. Two comments. One, from what I've read, AI can make mistakes by just sort of adding in whatever. And so I'm not sure that that's the best way to do minutes, especially when we need those to be accurate. And then two, I really think we need to hire somebody, because in the past, we had someone who kept up with the minutes religiously, and we're drastically understaffed right now. We really need to get into hiring people who are capable and willing to do this.
So the good thing is that Elizabeth, who's the temporary office manager, has been working diligently to work on our current minutes. We were able to get some of them done. I know we're working on the most recent meetings, and then also she's going to be starting on the backlog. AI, yes, we can use AI. The thing with AI, and I've explained it to Elizabeth and we both have discussed it, is we would need to go back and fine tune our minutes to make sure that, things are correct. You're right, because AI does put things in. So it's important to make sure we go back and proof them, watch the video, make sure that we have everything that needs to be captured correct. So that is something we definitely would do moving forward.
Commissioner Henderson?
I would, how much would this cost the town, John?
We're waiting to find out. I have a demonstration with them tomorrow scheduled, and then I can get pricing out to you all.
Okay, I'll yield back because I would wait for that information a little more. Thank you.
Okay, so it's my turn. I do think that Commissioner Young, you're correct. AI can make mistakes, but AI also can be used as a tool to help with the backlog. I think definitely it needs to be proofed, but I don't agree with you sitting and watching 2 and 3 hour meetings. That was the issue that Brittany had. Brittany, when she was the office manager, when she was doing the minutes manually, she had to sit and physically listen to 2 3 hour meetings, which took time away from her other duties because she was listening to a recording. And that was when it was on a tape recorder. We didn't even have the fancy stuff with Zoom. We had a little miniature tape recorder that we sat on the table and we recorded the meetings that way. So we have definitely advanced, technology has advanced. And so I think you can use AI. I'm not saying depend on it totally 100%, but I do think AI is a good option to help you get caught up. I would like to see at least 2 more proposals. So if you can get the one from Minicode or Municipal Code, whatever that other company is. So I would like to see at least 3 proposals.
Will do.
Okay. Commissioner Givens.
Okay, so most people don't understand. It's not about minutes are not about word for word everything that was said. Minutes are about a summation of what was said in totality of the topic and conversation. So, and so I just want to make sure people understand that. And so, you're not going to get, in that aspect. Now, what I have experienced, and the AI has gotten very advanced now, that when you look at you go to a company and you see a Google, they have a Google star rating, right? And so you can sit there and go through all of the different star ratings, but they also now, AI will generate and will automatically give you a summation of the majority of the Western names. So it's very advanced now, but of course you would always want to have someone review it, which would be far less time consuming than its current situation, having an individual like Wanda said sit there and time has moved on. You know, we're not where we used to be, and we have to take advantage of this technology that's out here, and so that we can continue to move forward with the times, and get things and be more efficient. So yeah, I'll yield back and wait for the information in regards to the cost. Thank you.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yeah, real quick, am I wrong? I thought we purchased something for the meeting minutes to help with the meeting minutes.
Yes, that's
that-
what I'm trying to get them. We're working with Civic Plus and Munico meetings to see. I think they have an AI component that works into it, but I have to figure it out. That's what I'm trying to figure out with them.
Okay, so if we did that, we wouldn't have to purchase this additional one?
That's
Am I
correct.
understand?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see kind of where we go with that, and then we could make decisions from there. Thank you.
All right, next agenda item, please.
The next agenda item is MML services. MML has recently gone ahead and launched, they do retreats now with the upcoming election on May the 5th. We want to make sure that after we get the new commission seated, we want to make sure that we could offer possibly a retreat where MML could come in on a Saturday and do with us some assistance with team building, role and responsibilities, and short-term goal setting and things of that sort. So Tom Reynolds with MML, I reached out to him regarding the MML services, and he was very kind to write back and let us know that there's a fee for it. It'll be $2,500 for those with populations under 10,000. MML retreats services is specifically designed with newly elected councils in mind. And it really would be a good opportunity for the commission. So I just want to make sure it's on your radar that this is something we definitely could do in the future. I think it would help bring us together to figure out, some vision for the commission, and it would assist me in my role as well as the department heads within our town as to, how you all would like us to steer the ship.
Thank you. Ward 1, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Ward 2.
Sounds like a great idea. And I think bringing the commissioners together and working together on certain projects and things like that, it might be very worthwhile. But I'd like to look more into it. But I think it's a good idea.
Thanks. All right. So I found out about this program when I went to the MMA conference up in Annapolis. So from what I heard from the municipalities who have taken advantage of the program, like I believe Greenbelt said, it was a great retreat. It helped them to get some clear vision on where they wanted to go and the projects and what they wanted to set as priorities. And it helped them, I believe, with team building, some other things, and prioritizing their goals for the future. So I do support it. I know we had talked about doing a retreat in the past. Mr. Galloway had looked into finding a facilitator for us. I never did get a price on that, but I'm sure it was going to be several $1,000s. So I think if MML is offering the service at a discounted rate for municipalities, I do think it's something we should consider. And with the understanding that we do have an election coming up, and it's we know at least one commissioner is going to be replaced because Commissioner Young has decided not to run for re-election. So it would help the new commissioner who would be coming on board to kind of understand how municipal government works. So I fully support this program. Commissioner Givens?
No comment.
Commissioner Brooks?
No comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item.
It would be the addition that Commissioner Givens had asked for with Public Works.
Commissioner Givens, you have the floor.
No, I don't think it's necessary. I think I looked up the cost. It's not a big deal. I was just letting everybody know that the impeller at on the leaf machine needs to be replaced. It'll be the cost of the part is less than $500, and as I've seen it, and it's something that I can replace and stuff like that. It's not immediate. We don't have to do it tomorrow, but just because it's all chewed up, and it's just from normal wear and tear. It's no one has misused that particular product. Thank you.
All right, so we have reached the point of the agenda for public comments. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand. Or if you would like to put something in the chat, you may do so now. I'm looking
There is
to
something in the
see.
chat.
I see that. Thank you, Commissioner Young. But I'm looking for public comments right now. Does anyone have any public comments or have their hand raised? I'll give you a few seconds to come off of mute. I believe we also need to go into a closed session. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Gibbons, do you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I meant to mention that we got the barrels in, and we just ordered the tops to them. Everything is black. So you guys need to start thinking about if we're going to put these out black, perhaps with the Cottage City logo on it, which will be the easiest thing to do. Or if we want to consider doing some artwork on them, again, I would stipulate it would be nice. I wouldn't want any just kind of like haphazard stuff, but that seemed like that's going to be relatively just so you'll know, it'll probably likely be a couple $100. I did reach out to someone who reached back to me and said it could be $150 to $200 per barrel. So if it's simple, the simplest thing to do would be perhaps to consider putting a Cottage City logo. I think the chief has someone who was doing the logos for them before. And so he could probably tell us better, or I can give you that information if that's a consideration next week. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't see any other hands raised. There is a sample of a local road use permit, and there's a sample of a resident permit in the chat. I don't know if anyone can, maybe Mr. Holson, you can bring it up on the screen. If not, if you have an opportunity, you can go look at the decals that are in the chat. That's from Lucy Proctor. Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah, it was nice.
I don't see any other comments. I don't see any hands raised. So I guess we're ready to go into a closed session. We're going to have to suspend the rules to vote to go into a closed session. So motion to suspend the rules at this time, 8:04.
Bill Kopecki
Brooks,
has
so
a
moved as
comment.
read. Oh,
Mr. Kopecki, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I can't go into chat or the other option you said on my phone, I don't believe. But my question is, can we get more than 3 estimates for the lawn maintenance contract? That's all. Thank you.
I believe we're only required to get 3, Mr. Kopecki.
I know you're only required to, but I think it would be a good idea to have more than 3. That's all. Thank you.
There was a motion on the floor. I believe, Mr. Brooks, you were trying to make your motion.
Yes, I said Brooks, so moved as read.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Henderson second.
Thank you. Call for the vote, Ward 1.
Young, I.
Henderson, aye.
Wheatley, aye.
Givens, aye.
Brooks, aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. There were no nays or abstentions. Can you please bring up the statement for the closed session? Thank you. So we will be going into a closed session under statutory authority, Article 3-305B. And that is to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. So we took the motion, or took the vote, I should say, to suspend the rules. Now, is there a motion to go into closed session at 8:06 p.m.?
Brooks, so moved as read.
Is there a second?
Henderson second.
Second.
I believe Brooks made the motion and Henderson made the second. We will call for the vote at this time. Ward 1.
Young, I. Young, I.
Henderson, aye.
Wheatley, aye.
Givens, aye.
Brooks, aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. There were no nays or abstentions. We are now in closed session. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night. It is 8:07.